Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, it's DMG and welcome back to Blitz, and today we are going to see three fantastic sub-replays, two of which are from Chariot Solace and then the third one from Denmark. They are all in Tier 10 German tanks, and this one begins with the E50M, the Tier 10 German medium tank. Fantastic armor profile, great gun, enough speed to get you around the battlefield. This tank is probably one of the best bangs for buck you can get right now. When you're playing in this meta. This tank has been buffed. 8 degrees of gun depression, slightly better DPM. He received a buff before that, 250 millimeters of frontal turret armor, although that turret armor is flat, so don't let that raw number really get you too excited. Anyways, Chariot is taking a good position in the middle of the map. This is where you want to go with your mediums, and you want to abuse this small area up here if you can, if they go town. What this allows you to do is to flex to either side, and you can see Chariot immediately starting to flank. He didn't take the long way around, so he's able to really get into position and get stuck in quite quickly. The armor profile of the E50M allows him to do that quite easily. The enemy team has continued pushing through the town, and Chariot's team has engaged some of the tanks that are straggling at the back. This Leopard PTA will be the first to feel the brunt of a ram from the E50M. It's not feeling too healthy now. E50M, a fantastic rammer, the best rammer in the game, that is. And why is that? Some of you may think that the mouse is the best, but it is not. Keep in mind, if we are talking going back to, or at least my high school physics knowledge, that would be it's based around momentum, which is a combination of speed and mass, I believe, and that's what the E50M has. It's not the mouse, because the mouse doesn't go very quickly, but the E50M, on the other hand, will be able to rack up those rams for 400 to 500 damage, even on somewhat heavily armored targets, or I guess targets that have a significant amount of mass on them, even like this FB215B183. Chariot Solace is going to take the 183 right out of the game, remove that big alpha gun to give himself a little bit of breathing room, and he's going to go after a stock Tiger 2. I guess this replay is an example of +2, -2 matchmaking and why it is unhealthy for the game. Now look at this Tiger 2. He has a stock turret and a stock gun. Do you think that's very fair against an E50M? I know a lot of people cry about not having the +2, -2 matchmaking, but really, it was so unfair to be in an E100 or an E50M in this case and going against a stock tank at Tier 8 when you're still grinding. It's not very pleasant. Or like imagine the T44 with the 175 millimeters of penetration it has going up against an IS-7. Or even an IS-4, or at the time, the Object 140, which would just be able to spam heat right through your side, your tracks, and absolutely burn you down. +1, -1 matchmaking is better for the game. You heard it here first on the DMG channel. Anyway, E50M, Mayan Ruins, Chariot Solace did a fantastic job there of first taking out the Leopard PTA, or excuse me, the 183, then the PTA, then the Tiger 2, to narrow it down to a one-on-one with that E3. Narrowing it down to a one-on-one with a turretless tankster means that you'll be able to maneuver around it, so he made a very good tactical macro decision there. I'm going to put some shots in the E5 now. However, this isn't the best shot of his life. Probably would have gone for APCR on the side still. E5 has extremely weak sides and can be penetrated by most weapons, Tier 9 and Tier 10, probably even Tier 8, actually. Anyways, AMX 50B trying to get an angle on him, cannot do so. 50B doesn't really have the traverse to get around the E50M, and with some good angling, Chariot removes him from the game, along with Robin in the 268. Fantastic work there for a win on Mayan Ruins. 4 destroyed, 6,000 plus damage. An absolutely wonderful result. Now we are going to see him again in the E100. This tank, oh, I'm sorry, this is not Chariot. I apologize. This is someone else who I cannot see at the moment, and I will probably catch their name at the end of the replay, but it's a little bit difficult. I think this is probably someone on the Asia or the EU server. But regardless, we are showing this fantastic E100 game. That is not so fantastic there as he gets penetrated in the side of the turret. E100 does have that weaker turret side as compared to the mouse, but when you angle it up, it is still quite strong. And anyways, that 640 alpha is quite disgusting, and you will see that here in this replay. We're actually going to see some good use of HE. That mouse right there is going to try and side scrape off the little building right there. Not Chariot, oh my gosh, this unnamed masked player will be using heat rounds to try and penetrate the mouse here, but accuracy of the E100 is not always on, and it can be a little bit difficult. I don't think he's running calibrated shells. Calibrated shells is something that I always recommend running on the E100. Having that superior heat penetration and that fantastic AP pen allows you to just go right through and guarantee your penetrations throughout the game. Masked player has gone down to the bridge area, this little dip, and is now starting to abuse the 7 degrees of gun depression that is available on the E100. Also, tilting his armor upward gives himself a slightly better profile as long as the enemies do not have significant penetration and significant gun depression to compound that penetration. Something that you have to be very aware of in this part of Falls Creek is you got to be aware of the right side or the left side, depending on what spawn you're coming from. But I guess the cap area is what I'm trying to say. Enemies like to poke out from there. That's something that I have showcased in my map guide. If you have not seen that, please go check out my map guide for Falls Creek. It is quite an interesting map. I believe I was one of the first people to discover the spot in the middle that will allow you to farm across. I believe it is a very, very strong location. However, that M48 pattern is not looking too healthy now, as 640 alpha goes right across and takes him out of, or doesn't take him out, but leaves him severely crippled. Just like that waffle tractor over there, which has eaten 2 900 plus alpha shots with HE from the E100. An absolutely fantastic result for the E100 and our mystery player, which I am very sorry. I thought it was someone else, and I will get to the name at the end. This is a very, very good exercise in angling, and another HE shell into this girl will spell disaster for him. 900 and plus damage again into the girl right there. This is why the E100 is so fantastic, because you can take on light tanks, take on lightly armored medium tanks, even tanks like the T-62A can be heshed in the side, STB can be heshed in the side. Tanks like the Grill and the Waffle Tractor are easy HE pens, and you can really take advantage with some massive alpha. Who needs an E4 when you can drive an E100, right? Anyways, not to discourage any of our E4 fans out there, but I am just personally not a big fan of the tank, and I do think the armor, the HP pool of the E100, and just its in general ability to manipulate its armor a little bit better with less weak points, as you can see right here, is proving worthwhile for our player here, or should I say our hero actually, as he is taking on 2 tanks at once. That M48A1 Patton gets absorbed by the gun, a bit of an unlucky bounce there. Probably would have gone for an AP round to guarantee right through that side. Calibrated shells would have gotten it done. The other E100 on the team takes out the Object 140, and then our mess. Oh, that is Chariot Solace. Oh my gosh, never mind. I tell a lie. That is Chariot Solace playing the E100. I was right in the beginning of my video. I thought I had my facts straight. There we go. 5,252 damage with 4 destroyed. Again, Falls Creek E100 really showcasing why it is the better heavy tank in the meta compared to the VK72K and the Mouse, even though I do not think the VK was in the game at the time of this replay. Anyways, mastery game, using heat rounds, using good angling of armor, all very fantastic showcased by Chariot in that moment. Our next replay will be in the Jagdpanzer E100, and this will be by Denmark. This person has been sending me a few replays, and I am happy to be able to finally showcase one of them, of course, in one of my most iconic tanks. If you haven't seen that masterclass review with Bushka, please go check out his channel and have a look, even though I think many of you subscribers saw that video first and came here. Rocking a fantastic winter camouflage, we are going to see Denmark dominate Dead Rail in the Tier 10 German tank destroyer that is armored. I would say both German tank destroyers have this double-edged sword are just a little bit underpowered at the moment. I'm not really crazy about any of them at the moment, and I apologize for the lag, but there was a little bit of lag coming into this, so looks like we're all good now. But the Jagdpanzer E100 going to a very typical location on dead rail. This is actually quite nasty, as there is this incline, this small little incline on that hill right there does hide the lower plate of the Jag and will allow you to put shots down on unsuspecting heavy tanks like that 215B. He has DPM, but when you have 800 Alpha, it doesn't really make a difference. Well, as long as you can hit your shots, right? A very, very poor miss in that moment. I probably would have gone for HE. That would have allowed me to get my damage out across faster, even though it was a little bit of a lower roll. Get my damage out and then be able to angle up and potentially block that 400 damage. But in that moment, that T-54E1 right there is feeling the pain of 800 Alpha. And this is why I think the FB215B 183 nerf was justified. Because you want to have a high Alpha gun that is accurate like the Jag. It doesn't have as high Alpha as the 183, and that's, what, 13 millimeters in caliber difference for an 130 difference in Alpha, which is quite ridiculous considering when you get a 10 millimeter difference between a not a 10 millimeter, excuse me. Like if you look at the 76 millimeter on the Comet versus the 90 millimeter on the Indian Panzer, right? You get 160 versus 225, and that Alpha jump is not proportional by any means, really. At least I think, and especially at the time of the 183, it did have very decent accuracy. And I would like to think that the Jag would have significantly better accuracy for having low Alpha comparatively to the 183. You just saw a blind shot there, actually, a little bit before taking out the T-54E1 out of the game, and then he pulled a heat round right into that Jagdpanzer E100 on the other team. These heat rounds should probably still be at 420 millimeters of penetration. I believe the Jag should be the counter to super heavy armor, and losing that heat pen really was not necessary, I believe. It was kind of like nerfing the T95, really. And I don't say that because I'm biased toward the Jag. I say that in the most objective way possible, that the Jag needs a buff where the FB215B 183 really needed a nerf. So hopefully Wargaming will sort that out in the next few coming updates. Something that I really do like about the Jag is that it has a very intimidating armor profile. And if you can connect shots like that, oh, super fantastic. And it's heavy enough to ram the Chieftain to death. Fantastic result there by Benmark in the Jagdpanzer E100. Couldn't have asked for a better final game in one of my very cherished vehicles. 5,500 damage, 4 destroyed, making a decent credit profit for a tier 10 tank. Anyways, if you enjoyed that content, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you didn't, please leave in the comments what could be improved about the video. I really do appreciate the opportunity of sharing my passion with you today, and I hope to see you next time.